Sheikh Gumi has come forward with allegations that are shaking Nigeria's political and security landscape right down to its foundations. The renowned Islamic scholar from Kaduna claims he received a phone call from a high-ranking official in Abuja who delivered a chilling message that his name has been placed on a list of individuals marked for elimination through airstrikes, with authorities planning to classify him as a Boko Haram affiliate to justify the action. The cleric vehemently denies any connection to terrorist organizations and is calling on northern leaders and religious scholars to publicly condemn what he describes as deliberate fabrications designed to silence dissenting voices on how Nigeria handles its security challenges. The timing of these allegations could not be more explosive, considering recent development in the country's counter-terrorism efforts. Just days ago, at the end of December, American military aircraft conducted precision strikes in Sokoto State, targeting hideouts linked to ISIS and Boko Haram militants who have terrorized communities across the northwest and northeast for years. These operations were carried out in coordination with Nigerian authorities as part of enhanced cooperation between Abuja and Washington in combating violent extremism. However, the strikes immediately sparked controversy, with critics questioning whether foreign military intervention represents the right approach to addressing homegrown security problems that have complex ethnic, religious, and economic dimensions beyond simple military solutions. Sheikh Gumi emerged as one of the most vocal opponents of the American airstrikes, publicly condemning them as an assault on Muslim communities and questioning the justification for foreign aircraft dropping bombs on Nigerian soil. He argued that Sokoto, being a predominantly Muslim region, did not present the kind of immediate threat that would warrant such aggressive action, and suggested the government should consider alternative partnerships with nations like China or Turkey if external assistance is needed. His criticism resonated with segments of the population who feel that military approaches have failed to address the root causes of insurgency and banditry, while often resulting in civilian casualties that further alienate affected communities from trusting government security forces. Now, with these latest allegations about being personally targeted, the stakes have escalated dramatically, from policy disagreements to questions of life and death. If Sheikh Gumi's claims hold any truth, they would indicate that powerful interests view his activism and criticism as sufficiently threatening to warrant elimination under the guise of counter-terrorism operations. This possibility raises profoundly disturbing questions about how far authorities might go to silence critics and whether the machinery of state security could be weaponized against individuals exercising their constitutional rights to free speech and advocacy. The fact that he specifically mentions being labeled as Boko Haram, despite his well-documented efforts to engage with armed groups through dialogue rather than violence, suggests a calculated strategy to discredit him before taking more drastic action. Understanding Sheikh Gumi requires recognizing his unique and controversial position in Nigeria's security landscape. He has spent years advocating for negotiations with bandits and armed groups in the northwest, arguing that many of these fighters are driven by legitimate grievances about marginalization, poverty, and historical injustices rather than pure criminality or religious extremism. His willingness to venture into forests and meet with these groups has earned him both praise from those who see dialogue as the only sustainable peace and fierce criticism from those who believe he provides legitimacy to criminals and terrorists. Security hawks have long viewed his approach as naive at best and complicit at worst, creating powerful enemies within military and political circles who favor kinetic solutions over negotiated settlements. The American dimension adds another layer of complexity that makes this situation particularly volatile for Nigeria's sovereignty and international relations. President Trump has recently made statements about intensifying efforts against bandits and terrorists in Nigeria, signaling increased American involvement in addressing security challenges that have displaced millions and disrupted economic activity across vast territories. While some Nigerians welcome this support as necessary given the scale of the threat, others view it as neo-colonial interference that undermines national dignity and could lead to the kind of quagmire seen in places like Somalia or Afghanistan, where foreign military presence created as many problems as it solved. If you are following this story and want to catch every development as it unfolds, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now so you stay informed about conversations that really matter to our nation's future. The silence from northern traditional and religious leaders following Sheikh Gumi's appeal speaks volumes about the delicate position they occupy. These influential figures must balance supporting government security efforts against protecting their communities from what they may perceive as excessive force or misguided strategies. Speaking out in support of Gumi risks being labeled as sympathetic to terrorism, while remaining silent could be interpreted as abandoning a fellow religious leader or tacitly accepting the targeting of critics. Their eventual response will provide crucial insight into whether northern elites can present a unified position on security matters or whether divisions will allow the government and foreign partners to pursue their preferred approaches without meaningful local pushback. Past incidents of airstrikes hitting civilian targets lend credibility to concerns about how these operations are conducted and whether adequate intelligence gathering precedes them. Markets, wedding parties, and internally displaced persons camps have all been struck in previous operations that authorities claimed targeted terrorist hideouts, resulting in dozens of civilian deaths that sparked outrage and demands for accountability. The lack of transparent investigations when civilians die in military operations further erodes trust in official assurances that all strikes are carefully planned and executed. What happens next will depend partly on whether any evidence emerges to substantiate these serious claims or whether they remain unverified allegations that authorities dismiss as conspiracy theories from a controversial figure. Sheikh Gumi's supporters will demand investigations and protections, while his critics will likely suggest he is fabricating threats to gain sympathy. The truth probably lies somewhere in the complexity of a security environment where multiple actors pursue conflicting agendas and ordinary Nigerians struggle to discern fact from propaganda while staying safe. Drop your perspective in the comments about whether you think dialogue or military force represents the better path forward for addressing our security challenges, and smash that like button to help more people see this important discussion about issues that impact every Nigerian.